from your
Really?
side. Yeah, is there a way that you can do the echo cancellation?
Let's see. I don't see it in the dashboard.
Are
I
you
don't.
on a StreamYard?
Yeah, I'm on StreamYard. There's no
Does anybody know how to do the echo cancellation on StreamYard?
because it's opened up a window, but it's not giving me the full panel. Let me see. Let me try this again. Hold on a second.
Or do you have headphones?
I do not. Hold on a second.
No problem.
Let me try this again.
Okay. While he's working that, I'm gonna mute you, and I'm just gonna go over. I don't even want to get into my to my monologue because I might not want to stop, and I want to be super respectful of these men's times. You know, I value my time. My time has a specific hourly rate, but the value of these two gentlemen is crazy, right? So thank you so much for showing up, Anton. And I think let me see if I can pull you back up right here.
All right.
Glendon,
Is that better?
let me see. Testing.
Is that better?
Yes, that's much better.
Okay.
That's much better. Thank you so much. Listen, thank you so much, guys, for joining the stream. I really appreciate it. Hope kind of get some some common ground. I don't know if that's possible because you guys seem to be on the extreme of a lot of different angles, right? But I want us to talk to see kind of what happened and kind of where we are, and to clear up a lot of misunderstandings. I know I saw a lot of people talking about, oh, you know, Glendon's having sex with 15-year-olds, right? And to be fair, that is not what you said, Glendon, in the videos, right?
I thank you for saying that because I've been seeing that quite a bit. I've been seeing that extrapolation. And also, I want to say, you know, I love your content and I thank you for sending me this invite because I've been seeing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I want to go ahead and clarify why there are so many people rocking with me because people are mad at the folks who are supporting me. In this, I don't know when you joined YouTube, but years ago, I had 3 male channels called Disruptive Male, where I was talking about male content and these type of explicit stuff. And a lot of people loved them. And then, you know, I got a little carried away and I was like, you know what? I'm not actually giving the guys the stuff that they need. So I deleted the channels. So there are people who are very familiar with me in the manosphere. And this is why Alan Roger Curry, this is why Edward Anderson, this is why people are rocking with me because I put this content out for years and this never was part of it. This was a part of a strategy which many people will disagree with me. I think is working very fine to launch the new male channel, The Lost Kings, because I want to separate myself from other male content creators. And
right, you know, so let me, not to interrupt you, but so you're saying that this the video that you put out first when you were in your car, that was part of a strategy to launch your channel?
Yes, it's a month old. Okay. And part of this is like one of the big things is with YouTube, shock and awe works. And actually, I am really surprised that the blowback wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be worse, to be honest with you, and it really wasn't. And people have been saying all kinds of stuff like my age. And this stuff happened like 20 years ago. This is what's funny. People act like I was at some high school with lollipops and soda pops seducing young girls. And that wasn't the case at all. But these things did happen, but the ages, because like, I don't know if you got that thing I sent you earlier. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it because I don't know if you were in your show. But I used to do something called Craigslist protocols. And I'll explain all that. I used to have a business called the Upscale Garage Sale, and I used to use Craigslist for advertising. And I noticed I would have NBA players, I had really hot chicks coming in from my Craigslist ads. And at the time, Craigslist had a section called a dating section. And I started writing content for these ads. And in the beginning, it was horrible because I wasn't getting any results. But I stuck with it and I stuck with it and I stuck with it. And I kind of tapped into something. And I would get
I'll be
responses
right back, Lee.
Okay.
I'm
from
sorry. Go ahead, keep going. I'll be right
I
back.
would get
Okay.
responses from high school girls every day. And this is the thing, and this is what's funny. 99.9% of them I ignored because, you know, the average high school girl looks like a high school girl. A lot of them are not developed. A lot of them don't look like women. So I had no interest in them.
Let me
But
just jump in right quick. What was the text of these ads? What did they say?
um, this is when, if you know, because you said I'm into some wild shit, and this is the BDSM.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of toyed around with the content marketing. And what I found was long form ads worked really, really well. And it was just talking about what I would do, what was on the table, the activities. I'm not going to get explicit on your show, but I spelled out in detail what I would do and what I would not do. And a lot of women started responding, like 10, 15 a day, 7 days a week. And part of
So
that,
was okay. So was this for these were ads for sexual activity? Is that right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And was compensation included, or why would women respond to a ad, just a random ad?
Great question. Great question. What I tapped into was the female submission story. There was no competition, there was no compensation, there was no dating. They would strictly just show up in my place and have sex. And this went on for about 10 years. 10, I start tamping it down. Let's say 15 years, but 10 years hard. And then 15 years, I kind of backed away from a lot of that stuff. But that was the gist of it. I mean, it literally changed my life. And I thought the launching of the Lost Kings, because I started making content about a month ago, and I was like, I have been the target of so many YouTube hate campaigns, and none of them been anything that I've done. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw some raw meat out there for the dogs because I've seen, like I've been reading the comments and stuff, and people want me buried under the jail, and people want me, and I think you did a real good job saying that ain't nothing going to happen to me because number one, this isn't current activity, and number two, when it was happening, it was never illegal. I never had sex with a 15-year-old girl. I never even had sex with a 16-year-old girl. But part of the thing is, I know y'all may disagree with me, but I feel that the social media experiment worked really well. And because I'm getting more and more subscribers, I'm having all kind of content creators making crazy videos. Some people can't even pronounce my name. It's wild. And I feel that this is probably going to die down because I was thinking this is going to go on to the end of October, but I don't think it's going to go on that long. I don't really think it's going to go on that long
What's the
because
experiment
Yeah.
part?
Yeah, Anton, why don't you give us kind of your initial view
well,
on this, your initial take?
I will answer the experiment
Okay.
part was the actual video. YouTubers are known for faking stuff and putting out stuff that isn't real. This has been YouTube since YouTube started. So I went ahead and I put up a video that was talking about some very saucy stuff, and it started performing. And then I feel that your video helped propel it. The video isn't going to go viral. I already can tell that. It's at like 5,400 views. And part of it is to set the brand and to build a community the way that I want to build a community. I don't want weak, weak, let me say it. I want people who will be committed to personal change. And if I could put up a video like that and I can get subscribers, I'm getting the right kind of subscribers. I'm getting the right kind of people that I want. And about a day after I put it up, I was like, Anton's going to make a live stream of this. And you sure did. I knew that was coming.
So you capping so hard. You capping so hard, bro. You did not play chess and thinking that I was going to make a video of you. All right, Lee. So this is really what's going on.
Okay.
You know, and I'm glad that he right here, because you know me, I like to say stuff straight to people's face. The thing that really happened was he was clout chasing, number one, right? He been clout chasing since the very, very beginning of me even noticing who he is. He's tagging me in videos.
I tagged you in one video. I tagged you in one video.
He's tagging me in videos. He's reaching out or whatever, because I'm hot. I'm hotter than fish grease, and it just is what it is, and everybody know I'm hot, right? So he's tagging me in videos.
I did not reach out.
I didn't interrupt you at one time.
Yeah,
I didn't interrupt you one time.
Yeah,
I want to reach through the screen and just grab that ugly, stupid big lips that he got. But I ain't interrupting one time, bro.
You're right. You're right that you didn't interrupt him. So he didn't interrupt you, Glendon. So let him talk. And then you can. I'm going to give you a chance to respond, of course, right? But yeah, go ahead, Anton.
So he tagging me in videos. I don't even know who this guy is, not even a little bit, right? I don't even know how he know me. I've been on YouTube for over 8 years. Apparently, he's been on for even longer. Cool, whatever. He in his section, I'm in my section, right? So he tagging me in videos. So as usual, when people tag me in videos, I go and see what it is that they talking about. I don't disagree with what he's saying from a business perspective, right? He doing reactions. Cool. I don't care. We all content creators. We all rock out. It is what it is, right? So then I do some research, and I don't necessarily agree with the way in which he go about living his life, but I didn't see anything crazy. And so my thing was, I made a reaction video actually bigging him up, saying that, yo, I actually agree with him from a business perspective, and I don't argue with millionaires, right? He's a millionaire. I take his word for it, whatever. And I didn't do extensive research, but clearly he knows business, right? I'm objective in that. I'm able to separate the person from the content. You know what I'm saying? The sin from the sinner, whatever, figuratively speaking. So I'm like, okay, cool. He dope. You know what I'm saying? He knows what he's talking about from a business perspective. I actually align with some of the things that he's saying. It is what it is, right? And I said, okay, so I'm gonna reach out to this guy, because he had actually did some more reaction, or he mentioned me in some other stuff. He replied to the video where I got my corporate executive position and all of that other type of stuff, right? And so I said, okay, well, I'm gonna reach out to him. But something just kept coming up every single time I went to go reach out to him. So, and this is the God's honest truth. So I'm praying, 2 days ago, something like that. I get up, I tell people what my routine is. I get up, I pray, meditate, talk to God, whatever, so on and so forth. And I go to reach out to him, and I look in my inbox, and I see a thing with a message that says Glendon Cameron at the top of it. And so I'm like, this must be a representative of his or whatever, but I was just going to reach out to him this morning. And so they sent me the video, and so I could go and check out the video, and I see it. And so the thing about it that I'm trying to make sense in my mind is, how is it a social media experiment when you, in the second video, first of all, it's coming out of your mouth. One of the things that he said in his reaction video is, if I was Anton, or what Anton should have did was reach out to me and say, is it true? It's coming out of your mouth. If it was somebody that was accusing you of it, or it was an allegation, that's one thing. But if you're the one that's saying it and admitting to it and champion it and go into it in great detail, why wouldn't I assume that you're telling the truth? You see what I'm saying? So that's A. B, why would I even want to clout chase like that? Why would I want that type of attention? With great power comes great responsibility. And if we're supposed to use our platform to empower people, because one of the things and one of the reasons why I was reaching out to him to rock with him is because he was actually helping people from a business perspective. And that's who I align with. If I'm reaching out because you actually pouring into people, right? And he's watched my video. He knows that I rock with character, that I don't do business with everybody. I've always said that I only rock with people based off of I only do business with people based off of having good character along with it. I've literally divested myself from looking at even race as a factor. It's only based off of good character. He says it out of his own mouth. In his follow-up video, he says it's true. He also admits to receiving pictures from a 15-year-old.
Yeah, let's
right.
let's go point by point, because I don't want to overwhelm. You know, but I see what you're saying. And to Glendon, to be honest, I had questions about the experiment thing too. You know, it seems to me that people run experiments to find out knowledge, right? That's the purpose of an experiment. You have a question and you're trying to find an answer. And so, you know, you run an experiment on gravity, let's say, but once you figure out how gravity works, you kind of move on. None of us need to run experiments on, you know, if you drop a tennis ball, is it going to hit the ground? And so what was weird to me is that you were saying, on the one hand, that you were running experiments to kind of see what would happen. But it seems to me that the knowledge was already there. Now, let's just kind of break it down. You can say, well, I'm running experiments on one of two things, or maybe both. I'm running an experiment on how Anton will react, and I'm running an experiment on what will happen with the algorithm.
All right.
To me,
So,
but let me just finish, and I want you to I want to hear your response. If you're running an experiment on how Anton will react, to me that doesn't make sense at all, because everyone knows that based on your first video, Anton's going to flip, right? If you run an experiment on how the lead attorney is going to react, that's a question, right? Or if you run an experiment on how, you know, Edward Anderson is going to react, that's a question. But everyone knows from the stance that Anton takes regarding righteousness, regarding religion, regarding premarital sex, right? Regarding even courting, everyone knows that if anybody's going to flip, it's going to be Anton. Like, there was no reason to run an experiment on that, because everyone knows how he was going to react. And you said it multiple times in the second video that you knew how he was going to react. So there's no reason to run. And we all know that Anton is not going to accept anything really in that first video. If anybody's not going to accept it, it's going to be him. So you say, well, okay, I wasn't running the experiment on Anton because I already knew he was going to flip. I'm running an experiment to see what's going to happen on, you know, how the algorithm is going to react, right? But then again, you know, if I run that experiment, I can run it because I had 1,000 subscribers in January. Right. So I've got a few more now, but my trajectory on YouTube has not been that long. There are things that I'm still learning about YouTube. You've been on YouTube, I think you said 12 years. So there is no one who knows more about how what your video is going to cause more than you. Like, it's not an experiment if you know what's going to happen at the end of the experiment. Do you see what I'm saying? So I didn't.
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
I
First
just
of
didn't
all,
see a. Mhm.
okay, no, I understand. First of all, I did not run an experiment on Anton. That was just like, after I dropped the video, I was like, because I was seeing how the moves Anton was making, I was like, he's going to do a reaction video on that. And there was no experiment with Anton.
Okay.
You know, that was just part of the mix. And actually, Anton's video elevated that video. And also, this whole thing is like, YouTube is really, really crazy. You can put out a video and you can have an assumption how it's going to perform. But until you put that video out, you don't know how it's going to perform. And like I said, I've had people do 4-hour live streams about me, talking about me. And I was like, you know, I'm going to try something a little risque. I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to see. And the first few days, it really was nothing. I said, okay, this is going to die. And then it started. Anton did his video, and then a whole bunch of other people did their videos. And the video is not going to go viral. It's not going to happen. And so I would consider it a static experiment. It's not like super successful, because honestly, I thought there was going to be more blowback. I thought there was going to be more anger. I thought there was going to be more people with pitchforks coming after me. And actually, I feel that this is pretty much going to die out by next Friday, because that's the way it's trending. So that was one experiment, because one of the things I wanted to do with this new male content is just separate myself from everyone else, because there's a lot of male content channels out there. And I learned my
So let me
lesson.
just not to interrupt you, but just to be clear, you're saying that you didn't know what would happen if you released a video as sensational as the video that you released. You've been on YouTube 12 years, but you're saying you didn't know what would happen, or you didn't know if you would get more views?
Yeah, because like I said, I put out videos that shocked me that did 100,000 views. And once again, like I said, my hopes was it would be more inflammatory, and it wasn't. So that's what I mean, because I was hoping that I knew it would be. Once again, I'm not surprised by the blowback. I'm not surprised by the responses, but I felt that there would be even bigger blowback. I felt there would be even a larger response, and that didn't happen. So that's why I said I ran an experiment. Yes, I had a feeling that this would get people upset, people would be mad, and people, it's polarizing. It's a very polarizing video, but
Yes.
I did not know to what extent it would go. And once again, it's not performing like I thought it would. And this is.
But why would you even want to do a video with me if you know who I am? If you know what I stand on, and you know what my morals and my character is, and you know how I move, why would you even be looking to do content with me in the first place?
Okay, first of all, I tagged you in one video. I did not reach out to you ever. I've not reached out to you ever. And also, that's a really good question, because you have a brand, and your brand is the antithesis of my brand. So there was not going to be any collaboration. I didn't reach out to you. I wasn't planning on reaching out to you.
So you've been capping in all of these videos up to this point. You literally kept saying, "Oh, you know what? I got to reach out to Anton. I think we're going to do something together." Because you've said that in multiple videos after you tagged me in the video.
I tagged you once, and yes, I did say that. And then later on, I changed my mind and I stopped doing that.
Oh my God, bro.
All right,
Seriously, Glendon. Hold on, Lee. Seriously, Glendon. I mean, are we gonna be real? You know what I'm saying? Are we gonna be 100? You're not gonna say you was looking for clout, because in that video that you tagged me, you didn't just tag me. You tagged the lead attorney. You tagged a whole bunch of people. You was clout chasing. You was looking for more visibility from people that was hot at the time, and you was reaching.
Once again, I did tag you. I did tag the lead attorney. I tagged a few other people. And I was like, this ain't really working. And I stopped doing it. Have I tagged you in the video recently? No, I haven't.
Now, let me ask you.
You just did a whole reaction video on me.
Because you did a video about me.
No. Not on this one. When I got the corporate executive position, you did a whole reaction video on me. The whole video was about me. What are you talking about?
That is true.
I did that video. And once again, my feelings changed.
Seriously, do you see why I say I have to pick and choose who I do business with, bro? Because it ain't even just about whether or not we ain't even got to the thick of this, right? Because it was some bad stuff in that video. We ain't even got to the thick of it on the real. Yeah, but do you see why I say I have to vet people? Because he not even being honest in his clout chasing. Like, he not being honest in him reaching out. He not being honest in everything that he's doing. It's all cloaked in some kind of deviant behavior or some kind of underhanded move that he's trying to move. And I don't rock with these type of people, bro. I preach it on a regular basis that you gotta be careful who you do business with, because everybody that get money, his ability to get money, his talent don't necessarily align with good character, bro. Right. It's so unfortunate that I'm just trying to be as respectful as possible to you.
And I appreciate that. And I appreciate both of y'all being so patient. I really do. Let me ask you this, Glendon, because this kind of comes up too, and Anton is hinting at it as well. This whole, we'll call it an experiment in making a very polarizing video. You have, to me, you have great, excellent content when it comes to business. And I can hear it. Now, you say stuff that I don't know all the time in your videos. Now, I'm not a businessman, right? But when I listen to your content, when I listen to Anton's content, I really learn. Also, I could easily look up to you as a content creator because you have 100,000 subscribers. That's hard to get. And you might not know, but I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of our boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson. We all rock with O'Shea, right? Yeah. And O'Shea put me on, and he set an example for me of helping other people come up. And so I've started, helping other people with their YouTube channels. Do you think like this is the best way to grow a channel? Like why would you choose this way to launch your channel, to do such a polarizing way involving children? Why do you think that was a good way for all the young? We have a lot of young content creators in the chat who look up to both of you. Both of y'all are extremely strong YouTubers. Like why is it this way involving children and kids? Why is it like this?
Once again, this is, you are relatively new to YouTube and you haven't seen the old content. This isn't a radical departure from my older content. The only thing that was different was I dropped ages, and I've never done that before. I've put out that type of content on YouTube for 10 years. So this isn't a radical departure from what I'm doing. I just threw a little extra wrinkle in it.
Yeah, I
So
guess I'm not asking. You're saying this isn't any change from what I've done in the past. And I'm not
it's
saying that
true.
it's not a change. I'm not talking about change at all. I'm talking about why do it like this? Why launch a channel involving polarizing issue with children?
I just chose that topic. I just chose it. And, we will see about 6 months from now, was it really a bad decision or was it a good decision? So we will see. And
How do
I
you
take risk.
determine what's bad or good?
How the channel
Or is
performs.
it so you only care about the numbers? You literally only care about the channel numbers, the money, whatever. The only thing
No,
that you
no,
determine
no,
whether it was bad
no,
or good. What about
no,
the impact?
no,
What about
no,
the fact you
no,
literally
no.
just gave a blueprint to predators? You gave the predator blueprint. Yo, if they got good parents, you want to stay away from them. All of this other stuff that you said, none of that matters.
That wasn't a predator blueprint. That wasn't a predator blueprint. Because one of the things that I was doing, and like I said, we will see in the future, will this have a deep impact? And that's a good point that you made about impact, because Disruptive Male had a serious impact, and I want to duplicate that with this new channel, but I want to separate myself from the other content creators, because you think, once again, you think that's bad, and that's your opinion. I'm not going to have any truck with that. But once again, I have built, because Disruptive Male was doing really well, and then I started to get a lot of hate. And then I realized that I had built the channel incorrectly. And what I mean by that is, and this is something that both of you probably will find out if you don't already know it. How you build your channel is how you draw your audience. And I had
Why
built
we
the
don't
channel
care about
wrong.
the channel? I'm talking about the information that you put out. Why would you tell somebody if they have good parents and stay away from them?
One of the chicks I was dealing with was what's it called, an emancipated teen. And she made her own decisions. What I was saying was, if you're dealing with someone who's still very childlike in the mind, you probably don't want to mess with them, because, like, I don't know if you got what I sent you, and if you didn't, I'm not gonna worry about it. But one of the things that
I
I
did
don't
get it.
think people,
It was very long, so I didn't get a chance to
yeah,
read it.
yeah,
I did.
a girl in high school sent me that, and one of the big things that happened in that video was the lack of assignment of culpability to people for making decisions. And once again, I know y'all going to disagree with me, and I'm going to say it anyway. All 16, 17, and 18-year-olds are not the same. There are some that are very childish, really still immature, and there are some who are damn near predators. And one of the
The
things,
children are predators,
yes, some of them are.
but you said that you wouldn't consider your behavior or R. Kelly's behavior predator behavior.
Well, if you look at the title of the video, I could have been a
No, I looked
predator.
at what you said. You
I'm about
said
to
that
say
you would not
something. You
consider
said you
that
were
predator behavior.
I'm talking. I could have been a predator, and I will give you the, like, yeah, I had girls in high school sending me dirty, explicit pictures, all this other stuff, and I would just delete them.
Let's talk about this for a second.
I could have easily been a predator if that was my orientation.
Let's talk about this for a second, because you mentioned that there was 15 in your first video. You
Mm.
mentioned that, and you changed it in the second video. So I'm going to get there. But in the first video, you said that there was a 15-year-old. You said, quote, we were just talking and stuff. I just talked to her. She'd send me dirty pictures. She was running, 100 miles an hour, right?
Yes.
Then in the second video, you said, well, because now I think we can all agree that's a crime. In Georgia, guys, that's actually a
Well, I
crime.
actually never met her. I never met her. I never chat. I mean, we talked
Yeah,
because I didn't know she was 15 until a little later, and that was one of the issues.
yeah.
So we
Well,
talked.
let me just jump in. What I'm telling you is if you're talking and getting nudes from a 15-year-old, that is a crime in Georgia. That's the sexual exploitation of children.
Yes,
And
it is.
it's a felony grade crime, and it goes from 5 to 20, right? 5 years to 20 years.
And once
Now,
I found out she was 15, I stopped talking to her and I deleted the pictures.
gotcha. All right, but still, even if you don't know
I
that
know,
she's
I know. A lot of
okay,
men have gotten caught up because they
no,
were talking to a girl, they didn't know how old she was, and the law don't care. The law doesn't care.
right.
And I was like, "You're 15." She says, "But I'll be 16, I think, in May." And I was like, "That doesn't matter. You're 15 now. I can't keep talking to you." And I
Wait,
didn't
wait. And
communicate.
now I'm confused because you're saying, well, when you found out she was 15, then you deleted the pictures and you stopped talking to her. But you
Yes.
said in the second video that she actually wasn't 15. You said that she was 16 and you just lowered the number to make it more polarizing.
Well, I lowered the numbers of the girls and her mother, and not that one, because there was many girls. So not that one in particular. But this happened all of the time. I would be talking to a girl and I would find out how old she was, and I was like, okay. And it was a policy. I would just go ahead, block their email, delete their pictures, and keep it moving. This
All right.
happened a lot. A lot.
So the 15-year-old that you talked about in the first video, she actually was 15. But when you found out she was 15, then you stopped talking to her and deleted the videos.
Well, I didn't have videos, just pictures.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're exactly right. Deleted the pictures.
Yes.
Okay. How do you feel about that, Anton?
I think it's nasty. It's so nasty, man. And I think maybe it's, the ironic thing that I'm trying to figure out, because I say this regularly. I say I need to be the man that I would want my daughter to marry, right? I'm a reflection of the thing that I would want my daughter to marry. And I've heard Glendon admittedly say that he has a daughter. And so I'm so confused because TLA, one of the things that you said in this show was that, one of your blind spots or handicaps, so to speak, figuratively speaking, was that you don't have kids, right? So you don't understand what it means to truly love and be passionate about sons are different. They rough and tumble. You want them to go through stuff or whatever, so on and so forth. I had a young man that I almost adopted. That was my nephew that lived with me. And I wanted to push him. I wanted to go through stuff. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But daughters out of your own, that's yours. And then you can sit here and justify the idea that you was sitting there in grave detail talking about it ain't nothing like going with a young girl and she's 17 and I did her about 15 times. And even after she told me she was 17, I kept doing it to her, but you was a lot more graphic and all of this stuff. You have a daughter, bro. That don't bother you? Like, even outside of the law, outside of what was, because slavery was once legal. That don't mean that it was right. We talking about morals and ethics and character. That
All
don't
right.
bother you,
Let
bro?
you-
Honestly,
let-
that
let-
you
let-
got a daughter?
My daughter and I have a very special relationship. And she kids me. She's like, hopefully you won't be dating someone my age. So my daughter knows who I am. She accepts that, and I accept her. And she makes her own decisions. She tells me she's a virgin. I have no other proof, so I believe it. But once again, I am not one of those men who will push and press my impressions upon my offspring, because from my experiments, from Craigslist, I know kids will do what a lot of different things. a lot of different things.
That's exactly what our role is as a father, to push our impressions on our kids. We want them to be better versions of us. That's what we supposed to do. What are you talking
All right.
about?
What I'm talking about is, all right, I have some friends right now. They have a 16-year-old daughter. They're good people. She is wild as hell. And it isn't because she doesn't have good parents. It is because of who she is. And this is something that a lot of people cannot, it's like, well, she had bad parents. She could have had the best parents in the world, and she just turned out to be one of those kids. And there are many, many parents out there who have 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old children that they cannot control, they cannot instill, they can't put anything in them. And this is something a lot of people have a hard problem understanding, because everyone reaches an age where they understand what they're doing. And some people reach that age earlier. Some of these kids know exactly what they're doing. They're smoking, they're having sex,
But you
they're
just
doing
said
drugs.
it. You just said it, Glenn. You said they kids. Why would you, as a grown man, be interested in somebody whose brain isn't scientifically, and you know this for a fact, proven to be even developed until their 20s? Why would you take advantage of that as a man that not only is a grown man, you have power, you got resources, you got cars, you got all of this stuff that you know are enticing to children? You call them kids out of your own mouth. Why would you even consider that, bro? Why would you consider talking to a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old? Why would you be having conversations with somebody that looks like they're 15 years old?
First of all, now there was some of them who looked like they were 15, 10 years old. I didn't even talk to them. A lot of these girls did not look their age. They didn't look their age. And like what I sent the lead attorney, this came from a 16-year-old girl who looked like she was 20. All kids don't look the same. There are some kids who look like kids. They're 15. They're girls who are undeveloped.
But you're still describing them as kids, Glendon. You're calling them kids out of your own mouth.
In this conversation,
but then
I'm saying they're kids.
But then you had sex with them.
No, I did not have sex with any children.
Oh, so I'm sorry. At what age do you define a girl to not be a kid anymore?
That's a really interesting question, because there could be someone who could be 18 who could still be a kid, very much childish, very much immature. There could be someone who could be 16, like the one who was 17 that I was messing with. She had her own place, her own car, and a job. I did not know she was 17.
Glendon, you literally advised guys to stay. You said you found a 17-year-old out of your own mouth, word for word. You started doing research on her on social media. You noticed in some pictures that her parents were around and that she had a strong family.
That was a different girl.
It's a different girl. And she had a strong family structure.
I didn't mess with that girl.
But you said that you knew she was 17 and you did research on her and you found out that she had a strong family structure because she was taking pictures with her parents. And that's one of the things that you decided that prompted you to leave her alone. That is predator. You're hunting. That is predator behavior, bro. That is literally the definition of
leaving her alone is a predator. I mean, I want you to listen.
But you only left her alone because she had a strong father and mother in the picture with her.
Dude, you don't know how predators operate, and that's a very strong word. Predators.
Why don't you talk to us a little bit? What's your definition of a predator? How do predators move? Because I will be honest, it does sound like when you're saying, "Hey guys, the ones that are close to their parents, those aren't the ones you want." When you say, "Oh well, I was doing research on this girl, or I was doing research on that girl," it does kind of to do research on a girl. It does sound a little bit predatorish, but you have been steadfast in saying that that's not a predator. Kind of, how do you define a predator, and how do you identify a predator's moves?
I would define a predator. I used to work at Scottish Rite, and I have seen some of those pictures you have seen of the forcible rape. I've seen that. We had this 8-year-old girl come in who was raped by her father. To me, that is predator behavior. Rape, they don't care. And also, we work with social work.
So if it's
Predators.
forcible, you're
Well,
kind of
no. Let me go with it.
okay.
Forcible is actually worst case scenario. And when you hang out at schools, when you go to arcades, when you're looking for young girls, and this is the thing, I never did that. They came to me. That was the
Based off
thing.
of an ad that you put out. You
Right.
literally put the ad out. They didn't just see you walking down the street and you just turned them down. You took out an ad. What are you talking about?
I took out several ads.
Oh, that makes it greater. Jesus Christ, bro.
Well,
All right. So
Honestly, Glenn, man to man, just listen. Do you don't see anything that don't make sense in this conversation? Honestly.
well, nothing in this conversation is going to make sense to you because of the way that you think.
No, I'm asking you personally. I know what makes sense to me. I'm asking you, do you like when you go to sleep at night and you think about the video that you put out, or forget the video, the behavior that do you go to bed with a clear conscience, like, you know what, everything is on the up and up, everything is good. None of this bothers you at all whatsoever.
I will say the person that I was 20 years ago, no, it doesn't bother me at all. And there's more, and there will be more stuff on that channel. But one of the things is I was having these experiences, and it wasn't like that many. It wasn't like 20, 30. It wasn't that many. I was in a different state of mind back then. And I was doing, as the elite attorney said, all kinds of shit. So I never forced anyone to do anything. I never took any advantage. I never lied to anyone. So yeah, my conscience is clear. I never forced myself on anyone, and I gave them options to leave, and they didn't leave. So no,
But Glendon,
I don't.
you
Let's-
literally
hold on,
said,
wait, hold on.
Jesus
Now let's talk
Christ,
about this.
Lee.
Let's talk about the second.
Lead, I need a break, bro.
No
Honestly,
problem.
I need a
Let's-
break, bro.
Let's talk about the second incident where you were talking about you were kind of propositioned to be a bull, right? Which is a huge thing in Atlanta. I don't know if you guys, of course, you know, Glendon, but a lot of the people in the chat that don't know, if if you're a black guy and you're 6 foot, you could absolutely be hunted in Atlanta. And some nice white woman, 44 years old, will come up to you and say, hey, do you want to come over and get in the hot tub? And she's there with her husband, so you think it's all good. Go over to their house and see what happens, right? It will
Yes.
it will be a
There's
it will
a
be
whole
mess.
community of that. There's a whole community.
Exactly. There's a whole community of poly in Atlanta, whole community of swingers. And Atlanta is for real, right? And so you talked about this one. And listen, it seems like between the consenting adults, there's no problem with it. Everybody go to town in Atlanta, fine. You mentioned this one incident where you were interacting with a mother who had a 16 and 17-year-old, and the mother was sending you photos of the 16 and 17-year-old, and so you went over there, so you went over there, and basically the mother pulled out your penis and started sucking it, and then had the daughters suck it. And a lot of people were like, damn, because even though the 16 and the 17-year-old are over 15, right? It's still a crime. Both you and the mother are committing crimes in that instance, because the children are under 18. And they're not as harsh as the child exploitation crimes. But they're still children under the law. They're called minor children. And now you kind of clarified this and you changed it in the second video, but we're going to talk about that. But in the first video, when you were saying that, you guys were all having sex in the same room, what hit me is, number one, the mother needs to be in jail, first of all. I can't imagine a mother taking your penis out of her mouth and then putting into her 16-year-old daughter's mouth. That's outrageous. And I've represented children who had some shitty mothers, and that is a shitty mother, number one. If she has sexual fantasies and pleasure, that's fine. She does not need to involve her kids. Number two, all the guys were like, where in the hell is the father, right? And I see so much where women are just given They are just given primary physical custody of these kids, and the fathers only get to see their kids every other weekend. And I'm, again, as Anton said, as Blind Guy, his wife, their life said, I'm not a father. But I cannot imagine if I fought to get 50-50 custody and that judge denied me and said, no, this is the mother. And then that mother has my 16-year-old and 17-year-old sucking random dick. Oh, I mean, as a non-father, I can't imagine it, right? But then you went on in that first video to talk about how the 16 and 17-year-old, they were virgins, and how the 16-year-old was saying that it hurt. Like it hurt. And the mom was like, oh, we're going to open up that pussy. A crazy story. Now, in the second video, to be fair, in the second video, you said, well, actually, they weren't 16 and 17, both of which are crimes, right? And not only for you, but also for the mom. But they were 18 and 19, which takes them out of the minor child category. So now it's all game, right? But I want to ask you as a man, because I typically review celebrities who make really risky decisions, sometimes bad decisions. To be a man of your stature and to have so much, to go to a random house where you don't know what the hell is going on. You don't know if anybody's waiting in the closet for you. You don't know if these white women are going to scream rape. How is it that a man of your stature can participate in such risky behavior?
Well, first of all, that's not something I would do today. So I do get your point. I would not do that today. 20 years ago, it was a different time. Now that I think about it, nothing ever happened for me doing these escapades. Nothing ever happened. But thinking about it, it could have, because I did this. I would show up at their house and things went well for me, but they could have been bad. I feel like I have a guardian angel because I did a lot of stuff. Like 20 years ago, I was a different person than I am today. And like today, I have so much to lose. I would never do anything like that. I wouldn't. And it's changed because I'm not going to get into it on this show, but there's a lot more that went down, way more. And the folks who were watching the Disruptive Male know about some of these things. So I feel that as I got older, because there was some other stuff that happened that kind of changed my behavior. I didn't get in trouble or nothing. It's just I will share this. And
Were these negative things? Because it might help to share. Because
no, I want to share.
Okay,
There
because we have a lot of 25-year-old, 27-year-old Black men in the chat. Some of whom really follow you, and they're looking at me. They're looking at you. They're looking at Anton for guidance, because a lot of these young men, didn't grow up with fathers in the home. And so it's helpful to talk about some of the negative things that have helped shape the man that you say you are now, right? And not just give them all the crazy stories, but also some of the risks.
This is one, I'm going to bring it on the channel the other night, but one married woman I was messing with, her husband went to her phone. He got my address and he showed up in my house with a gun. He wanted to shoot me. And I invited him in and I poured him a drink and we sit down to discuss his wife. Craziest thing that ever happened. And that didn't actually stop me. It just kind of, because, he left. He didn't shoot me. But now looking back, I was like, that was crazy as hell. Like, once again, I was such a different person 20 years ago.
Were you on drugs back then? Or how is it? Like, how old were you back then?
20 years ago, I was 34.
Jesus Christ.
I've never done a drug in my life. I don't even drink. It was just, you mentioned the swingers, and I was part of that lifestyle. And that's a very compelling, it sucks you in. And I actually had to take a year off where I just didn't have sex, didn't engage with anyone to calm down because I felt that I was getting out of control. So that's one of the things that happened. And this may sound really dark, but I had one of these chicks fall in love with me. and she got hurt really, really bad. And that's one of the things that got me to thinking about changing my ways.
How
So
old was she?
42.
How did she get hurt?
Same thing. Ads. I mean, guys, if I could just, man, all right. I had every man's dream, the ability to, because I had some ads, like this is direct response marketing. I had ads that performed really well, and I weeded out the ads that didn't perform well. So I would run the ads every day. It took me about 15 minutes, and I would have 20 to 30 women respond to these ads every night. And then I would go through, it's like, no, I like her, I like her. And this was my life for 10 years. And it got very addictive. It got very self-indulgent.
That's every man's dream.
Every man except Anton Daniels. Yeah. I mean, like,
I don't think every man runs ads in order to be able to reach out and get women.
well, I would say I would agree with you that, because I know that you don't appreciate it, because when running ads to sell physical merchandise and running ads to get women, they're roughly the same. So it's a skill set. But every man's dream, most heterosexual men want to have a lot of unlimited sex with no restraints, no requirements. That's most men's dream. There are some men who meet a one woman, get married, have a beautiful relationship. That's a beautiful thing. But the average dude wants to have as much sex as possible. That much I'm sure of.
Glendon, can I ask you a question? I'm genuinely curious because it seems as though, looking at your videos and going through your very, very, very detailed sexual experiences with these teenagers, so to speak, right? It seems as though you base your moral compass as far as how young a girl should be. And you admittedly said that the only difference between you and R. Kelly is you didn't have other people going out to get the girls for you. That's word for word exactly what you said. The only difference between you and R. Kelly is that you didn't have girls going with him. And you said that you wasn't as big as R. Kelly. That's A, right? But B, you justify the behavior by saying that it's legal, or you felt that it was legal, or whatever, right? That the minimum age in which you can have sex with a girl is 16, right? Do you base your decisions as to who it is, because you said you like young girls, who it is that you want to have sex with based off of what the law says, and not necessarily based off of your own decisions as to how old or how young they should be?
All right. Once again, this video was an experiment. Let me say that again. And the video was titled, I Could Have Been Like R. Kelly. I could have been a predator. I mean, if I had true R. Kelly energy, there would be about 500 teenage girls fucked at the moment. And I didn't do it because I like girls with titties. I like ass. And a lot of these girls, they were young and they were undeveloped and they didn't appeal to me. So, and once again, because I worked at Scottish Rite, I know that a lot
What's Scottish Rite?
Scottish Rite is a children's
It's
hospital.
a hospital down here.
And we had social workers, and we would have children come in who were raped, molested, and all this other stuff. And pedophiles don't change behavior. They are who they are. And I never actually dove into like this one girl. She said she was 16, but she must have been like 10 years old. And I'm just like, why are you on here? Why are you emailing me? You should be playing with dolls and stuff. So I did not base my acceptance on age. I based my acceptance on, was she hot? Did she look a certain way? And most of these high school girls were not hot. They didn't look a certain way. They had braces and all this other stuff. So typically, I would say the medium age for the women that I engaged off Craigslist was about 28 to 32. That's where the bulk of them were. So I wasn't like hunting down children and, it was funny. But in that video, it was an experiment, and we will see how it goes, because a lot of people got outraged. I have people leaving comments on all of my channels, and it's just wow.
You didn't answer the question, Glendon. I said, do you determine how young the girl is as far as what's
I
a
did
minimum
answer your
requirement?
question. I said age has nothing to do with it. I don't go after girls who are young.
But
And I just
you,
said,
but you have
just
leverage
said,
with
Wait.
I
girls.
Hold on,
just said,
wait. Come on now. You just said that you don't go after girls who are young,
I
but
don't go after teenagers. Let's put it that way. I do like young women, 28 to about 35. Yes, I do. Guilty.
You literally described in detail how you love young girls. You love you word for word. I love young pussy.
Once
Hold
again,
on,
that
wait.
video
You
was an
went into how
experiment.
perky 17-year-old girls' tits were. You described in detail,
Yes, I
in
did. In the
grave
video, that was
detail,
an experiment.
how awesome it was. And then when you found out her age and you found out she was still 17 and she wasn't 18 yet, you kept going. You admittedly said, I love young girls, word for word. That's what you said. Was it a lie? Because if it is, then you told it.
and to be clear, you did say that the video was an experiment, but you also said in that experiment everything was true except for
Their ages.
the ages that you changed. But you didn't say, when I said I love young girls or I love young pussy or that whatever, you didn't say
No,
that.
I do like young women, 28 to 32. I am 54 years old. I do like them. I don't like teenagers because one of the things is you can't really talk to a teenager. They
Well,
don't have no life experience.
here's the thing, because you described R. Kelly's appetite. And, I thank you for this because you said in that video, you said the normal man does not have that appetite. And I think that's something that a lot of women need to hear, right? We're not going to cast, what's going on in the kink community to all men, right?
No, no. What
But,
R.
but,
Kelly did, most
wait,
men can't get with that.
right. But what you did say is that you kind of have that appetite. And you said, and this is a quote, there is something special about fucking a young girl that doesn't have a lot of miles on her. Now, and this is not a shot at any 28-year-olds. 28-year-olds in Atlanta got a lot of miles on them, right? That's not a shot. It's not a shot, but it's true. It's true. So let's be honest, Glendon. When
I will share some with you.
okay.
I managed to meet 4 millionaires through these ads, and I managed to meet many women who were 20 something to 30 something that didn't have a lot of miles on them because it was crazy because I was like, you're 32 and you've only been with 3 men. It is crazy. So during these exploits, if you will, I learned a whole bunch about women, and that's one of the reasons I feel that the Disruptive Male channel was so popular and was so impactful. And once again, I deleted those channels, but I didn't put them up. But I never talked about this stuff. And once again, it's just an experiment. We will see how bad it goes because, like I think, part of it is it didn't go as big as I thought it would, which this is why you run experiments. And this is something I've done my whole YouTube career. I've put out content just to see how people react. And once again, we will see because I also have my own platform, the disruptivemale.org. And there is none of this stuff on this training platform. None of this stuff. So this is the first time in 12 years I even talked about it, which if it was a habit or a pattern, I think it would have came out long before now.
Let me ask you, you said that this experiment didn't go as well as planned. So what would you have changed in your first video to make it go as well as planned?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that because one of the things I'm going to do is not do content like that anymore. And I'm going to, because one of the things I learned is that when you tell a story, you got to tell the story the correct way. And I did a poor job of telling that story because I didn't talk about this was 20 years ago. I didn't talk about none of that stuff. So that's one of the things I learned. I probably will not repeat this experiment. There's just no point because it did what it did. and I will just try some other experiments. So I would not redo this when it makes no sense to redo it.
Glendon, you don't think that you being a platform, having a large voice and a platform and a content creator, that you need to be more responsible for how you affect other people, negative or positive?
I do feel overall that I have a very positive impact on people. And every now and then I will take a risk, and this was a risk. So overall, the majority of the content I put out is helpful, useful, and mundane. So this is one of the reasons that, much to a lot of people's irritation, that so many people rock with me, because I've literally helped thousands of people start businesses. And
Yeah, but you know, character without morals or principles, money doesn't make you a better person. It just makes you more of what you already are.
yeah, money's an amplifier. I agree 100% with that. And once again, I've done crazy. I have done crazier stuff than this, and this is what's wow. This is just the first one that hit like this. I've done crazier stuff than this, not
Jesus
with little
Christ.
girls, but just business and videos and content.
So is it fair to say this is probably just the tip of the iceberg, though, Glendon? Like, for example, like you admitted to sleeping with the 17-year-old and all of this other type of stuff. I'm assuming that you've slept with more than just that one 17-year-old, right?
No, it is not the tip of the iceberg. Um, Typically, those were, I would say, exceptions, because most of the high school girls were young and immature and they had no appeal to me. So, like I said, the majority of the women that I had these escapades with were between 28 and 32.
Yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that that was the only high school girl that you ever slept with, though, Glendon. I mean, if we're gonna keep it 100, then keep it
We
100.
can keep it
Like,
100.
we here now.
That actually, I think that is, because the two girls with the mother were in college. So
Glendon,
yeah.
you went into grave detail. You have a really good memory. You went through
Well,
and
no,
described
no.
detail. So
I
now
am
you're
a
trying to
great
say, oh, you know
storyteller.
what? I don't know. I think that is.
No. I'm a great storyteller. I'm a great storyteller, because when you can tell a story that moves people the way that this did, and it wasn't true, I'm a great storyteller. And I need to get back to telling more stories, because
But
you're 100%
wait.
convinced
Are you
that
No. I'm honest. I want some clarity. I'm genuinely looking for clarity because I feel like I'm being bamboozled, right? Are you telling me the 17-year-old is the only high school girl you've ever slept with in your entire life as an adult?
yes. But once again, I'm a great storyteller, because, first of all, a lot of the stuff in that was embellished a little bit. And what I did was marry some real experiences with some embellishment. And I'm just sitting here like, I realized that I could tell a totally fictitious story and it'd be believed.
You said everything in there was true, though, Glendon. You said everything that you said
It
was
was
true.
true, but the ages were not true. Yes, I
But the
said that.
17-year-old age was true.
Yes, I did not know.
And the
she was
15-year-old age was true.
the one I didn't mess with, the one
That you got pictures from. That was true.
Yeah. And once I found out she was 15, I deleted the pictures and I stopped talking to her. Look, I'm in Georgia, and I know that just talking to some of these girls could put me in jail. This I knew. And that's, once I found out how old they was, I just stopped talking and deleted the pictures and removed them from my computer and kept it moving. There are many people who say I'm a pedophile, which is kind of interesting, because if they knew the true definition of pedophile, pedophiles don't change. They don't date older women.
But you do identify with R. Kelly, and you said that the only difference between you and him was that he had people go out and get his girls for him.
Once again, that was part of the embellishment of the video.
But then you said that everything in the
R.
video
Kelly-
was true except for the other girls' ages.
R. Kelly is beyond kinky. And I will say I have some of that energy because some of the things I participated in, I'm not going to get into it here, was just kind of wild. It was kind of wild. And R. Kelly was doing the wildest things. But I did not have this passion that R. Kelly had for young girls. I didn't have that.
So you saying that you was lying in the video?
I just told you I embellished. If you want to use lie, embellish. I lied about their ages and I added more character and effect. And this is something else that you guys don't know about me. I used to be a writer and I've written some crazy stories. So I'm going to get back to more storytelling.
But Glendon, I guess, and as a new content creator, or relatively new content creator, especially as compared to you guys, um, how is it that you can make videos where you say that you embellish and then you turn around and make another video and expect people to believe what you're saying in the next video?
Well, this is one of the things, because this is something I don't do all of the time. This is actually the first time I've done this. And one of the things that I've learned is, and you guys will learn this too, that people on YouTube have very short memories. You could do one thing one month and next month do something totally different. And most people will just go with it. So I don't do this often. Like I said, this is the first time I ever done this, and we will see what the results are in 6 months. But
if you had it all over to do again, knowing how this turned out, would you run this same experiment?
probably not.
Why
Probably
not?
not. Well, one of the things is, let me think about that. I consider the failed experiment. I consider it a failed experiment. So knowing what I know now, I would not repeat this experiment. It didn't
Why
do
is
what I
that?
wanted to do.
That's what I guess I'm asking though. Like, how would you change it to make it do what you wanted it to do? Would you make it more polarizing?
I would not do it all over again. I wouldn't make it polarizing. Because one of the things I learned when you run an
No, but
experiment,
not that you would do it again. Just hypothetically, for this video to do what you wanted it to do, what would you change? Not that you're going to do it again, but just hypothetically, what would you change in that first video to make it do what you wanted it to do?
I wouldn't even consider redoing the video, even from a hypothetical standpoint. Because once I get real data and I have real data to look at, that's how I make my decision. So I wouldn't even hypothetically consider redoing this video.
Do you have anybody in your inner circle? I got a lot of people around me, including my wife, that always hold me accountable. When she see me going off the deep end on something, she like, hold on, Anton, let's think about this for a second. Do you have anybody close to you that you
Yes,
rely on as a part of your network? And they say,
I
yo,
got several
Glendon, I don't
friends.
know if that's a good idea.
I have counsel, if you would call that, but I don't typically run my business moves across or in front of my counsel. So, I've had a few friends
Oh, no,
who,
I'm not talking about business. I'm talking about the decisions that you make in your everyday life. I don't care about the business aspect of it. We both successful. We both cut from different cloths. Clearly, I'll give you that part, right? But as far as how we move in our everyday life, you don't have nobody that you glean from or you keep close to you, and it's like, you know what? Hold on, Glendon, man. Maybe that's wrong, or maybe that's right. You don't have nobody next to you that holds you accountable.
my everyday life is pretty damn boring. So I've got some people I talk to, but I don't typically run my YouTube decision makings uh, across other people. So for YouTube and business,
No, not YouTube. I consider YouTube business. I'm talking about like just life outside of the camera.
yeah, there's a few people.
What do you base your morals and your characters and your character and your ethics off of? If you have nothing to compare it to, how do you determine whether or not you're right or wrong, or you making a right or wrong decision?
Once again, I'm a risk taker. I will take some risk, and just deal with the consequences. But typically, from a morality standpoint, I don't really do a lot that's immoral. If anything, I live a pretty boring life at the moment.
I'm done, TLA. You know what I think.
Well, let's do this, and I want to thank you guys for giving me all of this this time. If I had to pay for this time, this would have been thousands of dollars. So I really appreciate you guys coming on. Let me get your closing thoughts, Anton, and then I'll give the last word to Glendon.
My closing thoughts is that Glendon is absolutely the what would I say? The poster child. The poster child of what you don't want to become when you become rich. When you get money, when you get resources, it does not make you a better person. And I think that for far too long, the good people, the very, very good people have stood back and remained silent when it comes to those that do things that are morally bankrupt and go about doing things and they think that money is the thing that validate them, or numbers or subscribers or visibility or whatever, and they can run any kind of experiment with no kind of accountability of how they affecting other people. I think that with more power comes more responsibility, and that for far too long, good people are being too quiet. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so vocal when it comes to making sure that you align with people of good character. When I live my life like an open book, I put that on a platform because I want people to see an example of what it is that you can do when you do things the right way. You ain't got to cut no corners. You ain't got to do nobody wrong. You ain't got to take advantage of nobody. You don't have to sleep with people that's underage, or in my personal opinion, not as it relates to the eyes of the law, right? But as it relates to just doing the right thing when nobody else is looking. And I think that Glendon is so confident, and he's been getting away with doing what he want to do for so long, and he's so brazen in how he moves that he feels like he's untouchable. But I'm just going to tell you, Glendon, one day, honestly, and this is just my personal opinion, one day, I don't know if it's going to be the last day you on this earth. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. One day, you're going to have to be accountable for the things that you did on this earth. You going to have to be accountable. You going to have to own every little girl that you slept with. It's going to come back to you. And I just pray. I pray, honestly. I fell on my knees. I told my followers this morning, I said, I prayed for you. I genuinely petitioned God on your behalf, and I said, show this man himself. Help him to understand how he can do things differently. And in some way, shape, or form, bless him to use his platform to actually pour into this world instead of leaving it worse as a result of him being here. Man, you got to do better. You got to do better. We have a platform, and that comes with more responsibility. People look up to you. They love you. They support you. They rock with you. And I truly believe that you can do the right thing. But as of right now, if you continue on the path that you're doing, it's just leading to more destruction of more people. And you're going to have to account for that one day. That's it. That's all I got, bro.
Okay, thank you so much, Anton. Really appreciate it. And
Hey, keep doing your thing, lead. I'm out. I'm rocking out, bro.
no problem. Thank you. And thank you also as well, Glendon. What you have any kind of closing remarks?
Well, to echo on that, I'm accountable to my students. I'm accountable to the people in my life. So there is a lot of accountability. And looking at my track record, 12 years, one video doesn't define a person. And that's what I think a lot of people are trying to do. So I appreciate the invitation. I appreciate the conversation. Like, I don't hate Anton or anything. I'm not going to make any more videos. What I'm going to do is just continue to do the work I was doing before this all went off. That's what I'm going to do, because I love helping people. And I'm going to make The Lost Kings the best male content channel I can make it. I am doubling down. And, I don't reach out or tag a lot of people anymore because I didn't really like that strategy. It didn't feel good to me. So that's pretty much it. That's what I'm going to do.
All
So I
right.
appreciate you having me on the show. It was good talking to you.
No
And
problem. I want to thank you again for giving us your time and coming on and being fairly open and giving us kind of how you view things, and hopefully the people in the chat have been able to pick up some lessons, especially the ones who are starting new YouTube channels. Maybe the one of the biggest lessons that they can learn from this is that, you know, the experiment that you ran, we'll call it an experiment. You said that, you know, basically it didn't work and that you wouldn't run it again. And so this is not necessarily, this is not the way, not necessarily, this is not the way to launch your channel. This is not the way to get views. Is that right?
Pretty much. But once again, like I said, I'm a risk taker. I will take a risk, and if it turns out bad, I'll live with it. So,
Gotcha. All right.
yeah.
Well, listen, thank you so much again, Glendon, and thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna drop you down, but again, thank you. You didn't have to come up here, and I really appreciate that you did.
All right.
All right.
You have a good day.
Thank
man.
you. Thank you. You too. All right. What do you guys think? Thank you so much for all of the super chats. Of course, I wanted to acknowledge them, but I didn't want to interrupt. This was an important conversation, and it went a lot better actually than you know it could have otherwise gone. This could have easily went off the rails, but I think it speaks to really both Glendon and Anton that they were able to have an extremely civil conversation about some very explosive issues, and they were able to keep it civil while at the same time not seeing eye to eye really on anything. And this is really a lesson for us in the manosphere as well. A lot of times we're not going to agree with one another, and the shouting and the name calling and, you know, getting all boisterous is not going to resolve anything. So I really love the way that these two brothers were able to talk about some behavior that's, I mean, let's be honest, it's sick behavior. Now, I think Glendon also said, you know, that was in my past. That was a long time ago. I was on some other stuff, and, you know, I would not do that today, which is good, right? Because the less people who engage in that type of risky behavior, certainly the better. But, you know, I do want to thank them both for their time and for keeping it above board. Because again, this conversation could have went off the rails from the jump. So thank you to those men. The panel is open. I'm going to open up the panel. And I've got some people in the back already. I want, and of course, you know, anybody's invited. I'm taking everybody. But especially if you agree with Glendon, come up and, you know, let's see what you think. What kind of some of the points that you were making. Again, I was listening to a content creator yesterday, and they were 100% on Glendon's side. So I would love to kind of hear their take. What is Sean